Welcome to You, Me, Empathy. Thank you for listening. We would like to remind you that this podcast is for informational and entertainment purposes only, and is not a substitute for medical advice, diagnosis, or treatment. Known as just a silly boy with a feely heart. Please consider supporting the show. Check us out on Patreon or simply leave a review on iTunes. Here's your host and creator of the show, Known Wells.
Hello, feely humans. Welcome to You, Me, Empathy. My name is Known Wells, and I am here today to present my friend Rudy Caseres in episode 61. Today on the show, we talk about feeling like an outsider, the dichotomy of wanting independence and wanting to be loved, and why we absolutely need people. We need feely humans in our lives. The theme for today is No Man is an Island. That is, of course, the John Donne poem. It's referencing that John Donne poem. And today we talk a lot about that independence and wanting to be loved and the pull for like wanting to establish our identities, but also feeling like wanting to be connected to a group. And the pull of that is something that I think we can all relate to. I certainly do. Rudy is a lovely human, and you should definitely check out his show. It's a weekly show on Facebook Live. It's called No Restraints. You can check out that and all the other lovely work Rudy is doing over at the show notes for this episode 61. Before we get into the episode, though, a few things. One, I just wanted to mention a thing that I'm working on right now. This year, one of my goals is to write more. And in particular, I'm working on a book, which is kind of an extension of the story that I published on my blog and on Medium called The Day I Stopped Eating. If you haven't read that, you can go to knownwells, NONWELS.com and find that there. And let me know what you think of that, actually. So the work I'm doing right now, I'm writing 1 page a day, which thanks to my friend Norm for recommending that little guide, gentle discipline of writing. I think sometimes I struggle with making writing a discipline because I don't like the word discipline. But so far successful. I started, I think the 28th of January, and I've been writing every day since, 1 page a day, and it's going well. And this morning I was writing about the time my mother told me that we can never have a close relationship again. And, obviously, that was heartbreaking to me. It was hard to hear that. But let me just explain the context of that. We were backpacking, middle of nowhere, my mom and I backpacking. It's a thing I love to do. I love to be out in nature. It's the thing that I, actually got from my mom, the sort of love for nature and the outdoors and camping. And camping was a sort of prominent activity we did as kids. And so we were out there in the woods, very peaceful and serene and just so stunningly beautiful. And she tells me this. And at the time, I didn't have the courage to ask her why and what did that mean and really delve into it. But for you listeners, what it means is this, so I was raised in a Christian home, a particularly brand of Christian that is, I find my perspective is it's a bit anti-human. It's a bit anti-humanist. It's not kind to LGBTQ communities. It's not kind to races in some respects. It's judgmental, and it's it's coming from a place of higher than thou a little bit. And I left the church, and I sort of left that belief behind in my late teens and early 20s. And, looking back on it, I realized it was never sort of fully in my heart. But essentially what my mom says when she says we can never have a close relationship is because I don't believe in her God. And that sucks. It sucks. I would love to have a closer relationship with my mom, but her choice is because I don't believe in her God, and her God is an important part of her identity and her choices in life. Because I don't believe that, I can't be there with her. I'm not sure, I hope to someday maybe have my mom on the podcast to talk about it. I think that would be interesting and maybe difficult and hard for both of us, but I think it's important because I'm a humanist. I consider myself a humanist. I love all humanity. I operate from a place of empathy and love and kindness, but I struggle sometimes with certain modes of Christianity in particular that I find don't ascribe to what Jesus professed to be. I've read the Bible, and Jesus, from what I could, surmise, was a loving, caring, self-sacrificial, progressive, beautiful guy. Real or not, historical or not, doesn't matter. He was a representation of a something to ascribe to in many ways. So, when my mom says we can't have this relationship, it doesn't feel very Jesus-like to me. So I bring this up. I'm sorry. I bring this up because it's just on my mind. I'm in the process of writing about this stuff, and that's where I'm at. And I also would love to, if you've ever experienced that sort of thing in your family, I would love to hear from you, honestly. On the podcast or not, I'd love to just kind of pick your brain and exchange a little empathy. All right? Before I go, also, I'd love to read a new iTunes review. You too can leave a review in iTunes for You Me Empathy. It's very easy to do. It takes a couple minutes. And if you do that, I will read it here on the show. So this beautiful iTunes review is from Katie Foxwood. The subject is Beautiful Connections and Conversations. Katie says, quote, "This show has helped me feel less alone. In particular, the episode discussing living with schizophrenia. This show often makes me say, me too. I highly recommend anyone listen who needs to connect. It's a great space to sit in for a while. It brightens my world. Thanks for crafting such a lovely and positive space." End quote. Thank you, Katie. I love that. Thank you for letting me know that the show has made you feel a little less alone. That is the aim, after all. That is the goal 100%, is to make people, one person at a time, feel a little less alone in the world. Because, as this episode is all about, we need people. We need people in our lives. We need to be able to connect with our hearts and our empathy and our kindness. We need to be able to get vulnerable with each other, to grow and to learn from each other and to challenge each other. With that is a bit of discomfort, but it's required to move forward. So that's what the show's about today. So enjoy my chat with Rudy Caseres on the idea that no man is an island.
La 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 la. You, me, empathy. Yeah. La la la.
Welcome to You, Me, Empathy, a podcast about exploring the struggles we face in our day-to-day lives as humans trying to get by on this wondrous and overwhelming pale blue dot. The intent of You, Me, Empathy is to talk openly, without judgment, about our neuroses, our mental illnesses, our shared anxieties and worries, to create a dialogue that is vulnerable and deeply human and empathetic, and to share that dialogue with others to inspire emotional and cognitive collaboration and insight so we can, hand in hand, break down the stigma that make us feel shame and guilt for struggling, for feeling our feelings, for being human. You, Me, Empathy is a safe, friendly space designed to inspire the beauty in each of us. Today, I am thrilled to be in the magical Empathy studio with award-winning mental health public speaker, host of the No Restraints podcast, and one of the bravest feely humans I've had the honor of knowing, Rudy Caseres. Hello, Rudy.
Hey, how are you?
I'm
Extra
doing
points
well.
for pronouncing my last name right.
Yes.
I've had to stop podcast recordings right in, dead in the middle because they couldn't get it right. So
I feel the same way. I empathize. Because I feel bad. People will go "Oh, welcome, Non." And I was like, "Oh, just so you know, this is no trouble at all. But it's known. It's cool. No worries. We can move on." But yeah, I empathize with the weird names thing, and the people always putting an extra L in my last name, and it's just a thing. It's just a name.
yeah, I mean, it's a gift that keeps on giving because once someone learns it in their mind from reading it wrong, it's very, very hard to reprogram.
Totally. Yeah. Well, thank you for being here in the studio.
We're off to a good start.
Yes. Talking about names and people getting things wrong. Well, thank you for being on You, Me, Empathy, Rudy. Before we get into, for the listeners, we're going to talk about all sorts of things. We're going to talk about Rudy's story, what he does in the mental health advocacy world. But before we get into that, we always do an emotional check-in at the top. How are you doing? How are you feeling? How's your week been?
Oh my God, no one's ever asked me that before. How am I doing? I'm a little tired this morning.
Yeah.
Probably drank a little bit too much last night.
Okay.
So I'm trying to get over that. But other than that, I feel great. I had a nice drive down to your house, and I'm feeling good about that. Got to go get some gas afterwards. So always anxiety about that. Ever get anxiety about low tank of gas?
I kind of do. I don't like doing it. I don't like the whole process of it. I feel like, oh, am I going to drive in? Is there going to be a space for me? All that stuff. Do I have to back in? Yeah, I have those anxieties for sure.
Oh, yeah, no. And it's just if someone's waiting behind you and...
Oh, yeah, the pressure.
or it doesn't read your credit card. And,
Sure.
Yeah, so...
You also worry about some, villain type in the corner, smoking a cigarette, and he's gonna flick a match, and he's gonna
Yeah, you see those signs where you gotta check the way you enter the car, or else you create static electricity,
Oh
and
my
the whole
gosh,
it's
terrifying.
because then you blow up the entire gas station.
Yeah,
you just don't. Yeah, there's no way to start a fire at a gas station. Don't ask me this why, without blowing up everyone.
No more gas is what we're saying. We want a no gas future. Well, you're feeling a little tired. You drove out here with your lovely wife, Joelle, to be here in the studio. So thank you for doing that.
No, and thank you for having me. Thank you for feeding me burritos and chips and salsa.
Oh, yeah.
Look at you. That's you're great. You let me play with your dog, play with your horses. So.
Yeah, happy to have you, buddy.
Yes, I mean I should just come down here every weekend.
I'd be happy to have you.
From now on, you're just going to have me as your guest, and we're just going to
That's fine. You can sleep up here.
play with the
I have
dog.
to walk over you as I go to my work during the day, but that'll be fine.
Have you ever thought about having your dog or the horses on as a guest?
in here?
Yeah, asking them questions.
on the podcast.
On the podcast.
Yeah, I mean, I've used Scooby's been one of my empathy heroes, which is a thing we do at the end of every episode. But I've never had him on because I don't know if he'd have much to say.
Ooh, am I going to have to think of an empathy hero?
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
I should have planned on that.
No, it's all right. I can go first, and you can process it as you go.
Yes.
In the moment, be here now. Rudy.
That's anxiety inducing.
It's going to be okay. You're in a safe space. If you don't have an empathy hero, I think you have one sitting here, right here. So,
Passed out on the couch.
I'm going to do a little check-in. I am feeling a little tired myself as well. But this morning I got up a little earlier and did a mutual friend, Rebecca Lombardo.
Yeah.
I did their Voices for Change show this morning, their live show from 8 to 9 this morning. And it was
I've been on that show 4 times.
Amazing. That's awesome. Yeah, I know Rebecca just through Twitter, and I had never really spoken with them before. Really delightful people, and I was really grateful to be on their show. So listeners, I actually recently posted that. This will come out way later, but go check out their show, Voices for Change. It's fun. It's great. And Rebecca and Joe are good, feely humans.
And I hope you're all enjoying 2019.
Yes. Yeah, I know. Omi, what does the future look like? Can we project into the future? Hopefully, all the voting went well.
Yeah, Democrats cleaned house.
Hopefully, hope you all voted blue, and things are going well for little things like equality and human kindness and empathy and decency.
Have you ever got anyone message you and saying I won't listen to your podcast, it's too liberal?
No, thankfully. I don't really delve into politics, but I certainly have gone there because of things like equality and human kindness and trans rights and things like that. Yeah, I've certainly talked about. So thankfully, no one has reached out to me and done that. But I assume they've listened and they just stopped listening. So.
Yeah, no, you're doing the right thing, and when you're doing the right thing and you're doing it for yourself, I mean, of course you want to reach out to other people, but when it feels good, but you doing it, then that's a winning formula. And no matter how many people, this is from my experience, no matter how many people say oh, I'm unfollowing you, or I'm never going to listen to us again, I'm blocking you, blah, blah, blah. If you keep down the right path and you know what you're doing, more and more people are going to gravitate towards that.
I agree. And I think empathy requires a mindset or a framework of the world where you are looking at people like we're all equal, and you are sort of open to a lot of the concepts I believe in that are, tend to be more on the humanist liberal side of things. And so I think empathy and that frame of thinking they go hand in hand for sure.
No, I like that, and I'm glad you're willing to go there.
Yeah. Well, Rudy, let's get into your story. Can you give me a couple of seminal moments or snapshots that speak to either from your childhood or your youth or your adulthood? Just a couple of seminal moments that speak to maybe who you are today, along in your mental health journey.
Pretty much my first memory as a kid was I was playing house with my brother and sister, and they wouldn't let me play. They wouldn't really let me play along. So I kind of sit on the outside and watch them play because I didn't think I was good enough or old enough or whatever.
Yeah.
So pretty much from my first memory, I've always felt on the outside, I didn't belong. And that's been hard. There are times where it feels good to be on my own and to be independent and not to be bogged down by other people and nonsense that I don't really care about anyway.
Yeah.
But there are times where I want to be part of a team, part of an organization, and many times throughout my life, whether it's doing theater and wanting to be a part of the cast, but always not feeling appreciated or getting the roles that I wanted, or being in the army and just feeling like a real weakling and out of my element, and just never feeling like anyone liked me there, to working with other mental health organizations and always feeling like I wasn't appreciated, or I'd hit a brick wall as far as progressing.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, those are really some lowlights throughout my life, but it's really shaped who I am, of wanting this, I guess, dichotomy. Hope I used that word right, of wanting to be left alone and being able to control everything, to wanting to be a part of a team and wanting to belong.
Yeah. I relate to the feeling a bit of an outcast, and and feeling kind of left out and alone. I empathize with that position in a great way, and it makes sense that you've come to a place where you are trying to apply some control over that situation and valuing things like your alone time and you valuing that, and that's a protective measure, right, for you. And then also like being part of the team thing, which is coincides with the advocacy work you're doing and that good work you're doing. But like, I like that you've come to a place where you're like, you can sort of silo those two or just control them a little better for your own sanity and your own like clarity in your mental health. That makes sense.
Yeah. Have you ever seen the movie About a Boy or read the book?
Oh yeah.
So you know how they have that line, no man is an island, and Hugh Grant's character in the movie just is always railing against that because he wants to be that island. He doesn't want to be tied down to a wife or have kids, but slowly but surely he realizes that those things have meaning in his life, that he can still like read his books, watch his shows, and do all that stuff, but still make time and space in his heart for other people.
Yeah, no, that's a good callback. I love that movie. That's based on the Nick Hornby novel, I think.
Yes.
I think like we as humans, you can probably relate to this, and I think it's what you're saying is like we have this one track mind sometimes, and we feel like it has to be all or nothing. And of course, that's not how life works. Like we can, as you said, rightly, we can have the things that we want, and then we can also pursue other things. But in that like foundational element is like we need people. Like we do need people, right?
Yeah, no, I there was a time where I wanted to just like buy my own island and just play like video games all day.
Yeah.
And just like have it still is a good feeling to times where you can do your own thing and not have to worry about anyone bothering you.
Just being surrounded by alpacas.
Yes. Yeah. Are we gonna talk about alpacas now?
It could be just a fun little Easter egg for people.
Cool. For the one person that gets that. But yeah, no, it does feel good to be on my own. I think it's taught me or trained me to be very selective about who I let into my life, because if they're going to drain me out or if they're just going to be bad for me. And I've cut so many people out of my life, especially the past few years. Yeah. Because as you become more of a public figure, people want a piece of you. And it's one of those things where it's like, I'm not that great. I don't get why people want in my life, but it does happen, and not all of them are good for me. So I've gotten really good about being able to cut those people out of my life who are not good for me.
That's great. I think we all need to figure out those boundaries, that we have to create. Can you tell me what some of the traits or some of the things that some of these people were bringing into your life that you felt like, maybe you needed to cut that out?
Well, I don't like people in my life that are just going to be negative or always complaining or making excuses to not realize their potential or trying to give me advice that I don't need. I hate it. I hate it when people try to tell me what to do with my life.
Sure.
Because I don't have to listen to them. No. And the fact that they think that I want to listen to them is even worse.
Where do you think that in the examples you were talking about, where do you think that comes from their perspective? Is it coming from maybe a place of, they love you, but they don't know how to show it,
Yeah, I mean, I've dealt with that paternalism my entire life, being the youngest of four. And I think it just comes from like, oh, he's young, or oh, he's mentally ill, or he's like weak, or this and that, and so he doesn't know what he's doing. And yeah, no, I've dealt with that my entire life, and I guess there are people who mean well or think it's for my own good, but I am so very efficient at cutting those people out of my life.
That's good. I had this thought as you were saying that. I'm very much like you in that. I think that was working in Alaska. This was a number of years ago, and I was working with this woman who had this mindset that, you know, just because she was older than me, she could sort of boss me around, and intrinsically she knew better than me because I was younger than her. And I think once we go down those frames of thinking, those modes of thinking, like it's very narrow, right? There's no like opening to like new perspectives or learning or anything. And I feel like, you know, you hear people say, I've said it on the show, like parents who say, you know, kid like talks back or whatever, or like asks a question and the parent says, because I said so, right? It's that same sort of thing. It's like there's a lack of, I mean, in that case, there may be a little laziness, but like there's a lack of like opening to like different perspectives and maybe allowing for that person to have some space. I don't know.
No, I was like that. Like I wanted to like, no, tell me why. Like I don't want to be lied to. I also don't want things needlessly simplified for me.
Sure.
Like I've dealt that a lot with psychiatrists and therapists where they first try to talk to me like a kid and then they realize, oh, this guy can actually string a sentence together. And so I better smarten up and like actually use big words with him.
What was your, you know, as a child, you explained to me that you felt like a bit of an outcast. You felt alone. You felt like misunderstood. What was that experience like for you? How did you cope with that as a kid?
You know, like, I don't know, this might even be a bipolar thing. I always felt like I was going to do great things in the world very early on, even when I had like no self-esteem and kept these things to myself. I knew I was very smart and I knew I saw the world in a different way than other people around me. So I always felt unappreciated and like I wasn't being surrounded by people who were going to nurture me and like nurture my intelligence and like say like go into like summer camp or exploring and stuff like that, or like teach me things and like let me like play. And that really was to my detriment. I used to think as a kid like, oh man, like I'm missing out on all this. Like I'm gonna be dumber or something. Like I'm not gonna realize my intellect potential, and it's because like I wasn't raised right. But that's good times. Good friendly childhood.
Did you feel like, did you try to show them like what, you know, because I imagine it must have felt very empowering to feel like you were going to make an impact on the world. Did you try to show maybe some of that, like some of that spark to the people in your life, your parents, etc.?
Yeah, I mean, I would get all A's, I would get awards and do all I could. I was never good in sports, so but I wanted to make sure everyone around me, not just like my family, but everyone around me know that I had the potential to do great things in the world. And yeah, it's one of those things where you try to please people who are not the kind of people that you want to spend a lot of time pleasing. So that's another lesson that I've learned in life is that you get to a point where you realize that you're not being valued on what you think you should be valued at. And that's a hard thing, like to place a value on yourself. Because especially when we've dealt with low self-esteem or me with body image issues, like you want to put yourself at a low value. Yeah. But then that's how people are going to see you as. They see right through that. When you like even inwardly think you have low self-worth, people can see that outwardly and treat you as such. But when you really, really appreciate your talents and see yourself for what you are, then people are going to gravitate towards that. The right people. Yeah. Sometimes the wrong people too. Sure. But when you reach that point of self-actualization, there are things that are still going to be sucky about the world, where the world sucks. Yeah. But you get to a point where you don't feel as if you're going to head off a cliff, that you're just going to end up just going to complete like breakdown. Like I've felt so many times in my life where I'm like so close to just completely imploding and like ending up like in a hospital again. Yeah.
What did it, I'm sorry, that's hard. It must have been hard to feel that you had this unique value and then that value not being met with love and acceptance by, the people who are supposed to accept that, right? That's hard.
No, it is hard.
I'm sorry. I was just expressing sorry and opening my heart and saying, yeah, that sucks. That sucks. But here's the thing, Rudy. You are valued and you are doing amazing things. And you are showing the world that you have this amazing brain and you can bring people hope and kindness and empathy in the work you're doing. So kudos to you.
Why, thank you. Thank you. It's weird because I see you looking at your laptop and like, it almost feels like you're like looking at a script as you're reading that.
No, I'm just watching the levels. There's no script. I have some bullet points. You can look at them if you'd like.
No, you're good. Every time I hear that word levels, I think of the Seinfeld episode where he's talking about levels.
I don't remember that one.
Yeah. Moving on.
That's fine. So what inspired what made you get into the Army?
I had nothing else going for me in my life.
Sure.
I was going to Santa Monica College in California for about 3 years. I had a great time. I had my first girlfriend. Things were going, like, I finally found like my people. Cause like when I was going to high school and junior high, I was just like going nowhere with that. I just like barely graduated high school. I didn't even graduate junior high on stage. So I went from getting all the awards and like, being like A students and like being in all the gifted classes to just like getting like a 1.6 cumulative GPA in high school, just barely making it. Like really, I probably only passed like the last year of my high school was because I was doing theater. I had to like maintain a certain level of GPA.
Got it.
And so but that kind of like ran its course. Like in my mind, I thought I was going to be like the next like Jim Carrey. Like that was my idol at the time. He's not now. Like he's just completely gone off the deep end, in my opinion. Sure, I'm sure he has his moments still, but back then he was like my idol.
Sure, yeah.
Another lesson I've learned: do not have idols. Do not have heroes. They're all bad people. They're all full of shit. But
well, you can take I know you're being a little maybe hyperbolic, but you can take bits and pieces from your heroes. You can see like, oh, like that was a cool thing he did, or wow, that's comedic genius.
Yeah.
You don't have to take the whole package.
Yeah, you admire the traits and the achievements, but you don't put the person on a pedestal.
Yeah, I think that's important.
Because all people suck. But so after 3 years of kind of like getting to a point where I was running in place, I was too afraid to go out and audition in the role, like go to these cattle calls and like central casting type stuff. And it was
so you wanted to be in acting.
Yeah, no, I definitely wanted to be a film and theater actor. I felt like it was my calling, and like it was a weird time in my life because I was also getting back into Catholicism, and in my mind, because this is like around the time that John Paul II died, and they were looking for a new pope. In my mind, I was going to be the next pope. And I mean, this is probably like grandiose thinking. It's probably still tied to bipolar, but I got really into the Book of Acts because, and then after Jesus is gone, they all like form like this like communal like community, which is like everyone shares everything, and like there's no possessions, and they just go like roam like the lands, and it's just like
sounds amazing.
Yeah, it's like this amazing thing that has nothing to do with like shaming people or like having like pastors with like mansions and all this stuff. And like I was really into, in my mind, all churches that weren't that were abominations and were from the devil, basically. Yeah, sure. And like I had to be the one. If no one else was like that, I had to be the one to correct that mistake and lead like this new community. And at the time I had a girlfriend too. So imagine like what's going on in her mind. Yeah. Like, so yeah, so that was not to be.
Did you guys have, with the girlfriend at the time, did you have conversations about those thoughts you were having?
Yeah, no. And she knew I wanted to become a priest as well. And I mean, basically she broke up with me for being unrealistic, which is what I've been called by many people many times in my life. Yeah. And who's laughing now? But
do you feel like you're unrealistic?
I think I am. Okay. I think I've had rude awakenings throughout my life, whether it's been with the Army, whether it's been with acting or any other thing. But I've gotten to a point where I know I'm going to fail at things that I try. Hopefully not like most of the time. But the fact that I've allowed myself to fail while not feeling like a failure has really, really helped me mentally and emotionally.
That's huge, yeah. That's a hard place to get to.
But yeah, no. And the thing with the Army was that I basically ran out of money and I couldn't find a job. Like I was, 21, and had never had a real job. And so it gets really, really hard.
Yeah.
This is like during like the economic crisis of 2008 and 2009. And so I just decided to just join the Army because why not? They'll take anyone.
Sure.
Need a job in 2008, 2009? Join the Army. They'll take anyone.
Yeah.
So that was a fun time.
And you were in the Army for 3 years, you said?
I was in the Army for 8 months.
8 months. Okay.
Yeah, because I had a mental breakdown while in the Army, while I was serving in military intelligence at Fort Huachuca, Arizona. Had a breakdown like right in the middle of the dining facility. I get catatonic, so you know, with anxiety, people either like have that fight or flight response. Well, I freeze up, just completely like icicle. I mean, I can still hear everyone. I can't talk and I can't react. And it hadn't happened to me when I was in the Army. I went to the psych ward for like 7 days. It was my first time in a psych ward, and like going from that Army lifestyle to being in this hospital setting, it was really, really like basically shocking as far as like that. Some people have culture shock when they go to a different country, but for me, like just going down the road to Tucson was like big of a shock to me of like going from the Army lifestyle to a psych ward. And so I was able to get out on honorable discharge, which was good because I was eventually able to get on to veterans disability.
Okay.
But yeah, that was a very hard time. I felt like I was such a failure. Like I already felt like a failure so many times in my life, but this was almost unforgivable. I was so ready to die at that point. I wanted to kill myself. And thankfully, I'm still here.
Yes, you are.
But yeah, no, I still think about that. Like, what would have happened? I remember there was this one guy that he was like just as miserable as me. He would talk about how he was just gonna like shoot up the place one day. And when I left to go to the airport to go back home, I bumped into him because the day that I went home would have been the day that I would have graduated from military intelligence training. And he had on his suit and his medals and everything. And I was so shocked. I went up to him and I asked him like what happened? Like you said you were going to like shoot up your place. You thought you hated this place like me. And he said like, well, it's not that bad once you get used to it. And that always like rings throughout my head. Like what would have happened if I just would have sucked it up and went through with the Army lifestyle? Where would I be right now?
Yeah. Yeah. Where do you think you'd be?
I definitely would have got out as fast as possible.
Yeah.
I mean, I probably would have ended up in Afghanistan, but it would have been like fairly low stress environment. The thing about the Army though is that even if you like get a job as like the laundry person, you could at any point you could just be subject to like having to go out and like shoot people and stuff.
Sure.
So.
Yeah. Just terrifying.
Yeah, it's good times. But that's how lost I was at that point where I have no idea where my life is going, but I want to do great things in my life. That's been a theme, is that no matter how lost I felt, even when I was suicidal, I still wanted to do great things with my life.
And that's admirable. What, after getting out of the Army and feeling that sort of shame and that feeling like a failure, what did you do then? Are you seeking help at that time?
I mean, in the beginning, in my mind, I was going to go back into the Army. I was just going to find a different job. Everything was going to be fine. I was going to make sure I was stayed in shape, and I was going to go right back in there and correct that wrong and just cancel it out. And like, we wouldn't talk about this anymore. Because I didn't tell my family or anyone that I got out because of a mental breakdown. I didn't say anything. It was probably so weird to them. It was like, why is Rudy back?
Yeah.
But he doesn't want to tell us like what happened. But yeah, and for weeks and months, like I just wouldn't do anything. I just felt like such a bummer. Like I wouldn't even shower for days on end, just completely smelling. I look back to those days and it's like, man, how did I put up with smelling like that?
Well, you're feeling deep shame, and that's a powerful thing.
Yeah, so I mean, I tried going back in the theater. I tried going back to community college, and it just wasn't working. And thankfully, I was finally able to see a therapist at community college. that was the right therapist for me, because I've had some really awful therapists, and she was just a few years older than me, and we clicked instantly. But even then it was hard because I still had low self-esteem. And like at that point, like when people would tell me like, oh, Rudy, like you're still very smart. Like you're still young. You can still do all these things. You can still finish college. You can still get a career and get married. I didn't want to hear that at that time because I just wanted to just crawl into a hole. Like I even wanted to go to like some kind of like residential treatment facility and just like be left alone. And like that was probably like the one period of my life where I was like thinking like, you know what, maybe you're wrong about like having something to give the world. Maybe you should die, or just be like, give up and like just go to some like cave or something and just like have people take care of you and just have no kind of like expectation to succeed. But I'm glad that didn't last that long. I mean, it was relatively long. It felt long, but I was able to get help, and I started sharing my story, and just kind of just skyrocketed from there.
What were the conversations you were having with that therapist initially? So I feel like, I know in my experience, obviously, as you pointed out, finding the right therapist is super important. Therapy is not for everyone, but like I think if therapy is for you, there is a process to it, just like medication, right? You know, you have to be patient. It's a process. You can't be too hard on yourself because, you know, it's like finding a friendship, right? It's like finding that right connection. But initially, like once you do, those first sort of initial conversations are pretty important. What were they like for you? Do you remember?
Before I answer that, who is therapy not for?
Good question. I think I say that because I don't presume to be any professional. In fact, I'm not one. I'm just a silly boy. And and I think that it's important for me as someone who's not a professional to say, look, therapy has worked for me in a powerful way. It has worked for many people I know in a powerful way. But I also am open to the idea that actual like sitting down, you know, cognitive behavioral therapy or whatever, talk therapy, doesn't necessarily have to be for you. Maybe EMDR is for you. Maybe DBT is for you. Maybe just a more sort of therapeutic session.
DTF.
DTF, you know, all the great acronyms we have. In DDT, you know, whatever. MILF, you know, all those things. Whatever. You know, if like maybe you just have to be surrounded by more open-hearted, caring people who understand maybe a bit of that stuff. Like, so that's what I mean.
Awesome. Yeah, no, I mean, early on, like pretty much from day one, like it was about fighting me about like all these things that I think I should be doing or have done, because I was 26 at the time. Yeah. And like I should have graduated by now. Like I had people that I went to high school with who were working on their masters, who are already married or working on like their second kid, even got their own home, and I have nothing. And I would always compare myself. I mean, I still kind of do, but then especially when I had nothing, like I would compare myself to my peers and look how like sad I was, like pathetic. And she would like say, don't shit yourself, because you have a lot to give right now, and you are a great person right now. Even if you don't do all these things that you want to do, you're still a great person. All those other things are a bonus. But when I first heard that, I was like, no, that sounds like a bunch of bullshit. Like, it's easier for you to say because you're successful, you're married, and blah, bblah, blah. Yeah. So it took a long time.
Yeah. It does take a long time. I mean, I think that I think I've recently said this on the show. It's always a work in progress. Like, I'm always working on like figuring things out and learning new things and fucking up. And I think that's an important perspective when it comes to mental health, because there are going to be shit days. There will be, certainly, and there will be amazing days. And I think that comparing ourselves to others is really easy to do. Of course, I do it too. But also understanding that those people have struggle days too, and we maybe can't see everything that they're going through. And I've come to terms in my own mental health to say like a big sort of thing that helps me is to recognize that I have really not much control over things. For some reason that like helps me, the sort of relinquishing of that control. Do you relate to that at all? Or do you still try to like control your environment?
I still try to control my environment, but I don't want to get so rigid where I'm stuck in my ways, where like this is the way my life is going to be forever.
Yeah.
So I try to keep an open mind about certain things, but yeah, I'm still very big on having that control.
Yeah.
Like, especially like being controlled by others for so long and being able and having to live on other people's rules and other people's houses. Yeah. So like once I had that, when I was able to break away from my family, I was very protective of that. And so now being married, it's just it's one of those things that it's been trying to move beyond that.
Yeah.
Of having someone in my life who I want to be in my life, but also giving up some of that control where like this is not going to work.
Yeah.
Right, Joel? You don't want that. You don't want some guy who's like trying to control everything or think he has it all figured out.
No, I don't think anyone does. I think it. I think in order for us to grow, we do need to relinquish a bit of that control and recognize that people do influence us and people do allow us to like maybe look inward in a way that we haven't before. And it also allows us to maybe reduce the size of our egos, which we all have, right?
Yes. Yeah. I mean, that's if we're human.
Yeah.
We're egos and we have like a certain amount of suckiness to us.
Sure. Yeah. At what point did bipolar become a part of your life?
I would say when I was born, but I first started when I was having like the grandiose thinking of like being the Pope and all that stuff when I was like 19, 20, I didn't see that as bipolar. Like, I mean, I've heard of bipolar and I'm pretty sure it runs in my family, but I didn't really start looking into it. Like even after I had the breakdown, because I was actually diagnosed with catatonic schizophrenia in the Army. When I had my first real manic episode, back when this was actually like around the same time that I was seeing that therapist, and I was president of my Active Minds chapter on campus, which is a mental health organization for college students, and like I just like. All of a sudden, I felt like I was cured of depression. It was such a weird thing because I just felt like such a loser and suicidal, and just it was very hard. And then one day, I just felt like $1 million and that no one can stop me, and all these things that I've been suppressing as far as like you're a good person and you can do great things in the world. It came out in a way where it's like I'm not going to let anyone get in my way anymore. I'm not going to take any shit from anyone. I don't care what their title is or whatever. I got this. Yeah. I'm going to start my own company. I'm going to do all this stuff. I'm going to convince people to give me money, and I'm just moving upward and onward, and no one's going to get in my way. And there are elements of that are good to have. Yeah. Because you don't want to be a doormat. You want to be ambitious, and you want to be, I mean, at least for me, I don't want to speak for everyone, but I want to be someone who is very open about what they're about and what their goals is. You're trying to maybe you're pitching this podcast to your wife or your friends. Were you at first hesitant to spill the beans and bare yourself like that?
This is my show. I'm interviewing you. No, I'm just kidding. No, because I think it's rooted in that vulnerability, Yeah. So it's a little different, but I hear what you're saying. I think maybe that's a little bit of you sort of controlling the narrative, maybe.
Yeah, and it took me a while for me to realize that it was mania, because for me, I was cured of depression. I wasn't manic, and I was getting to the point where I know this is probably mania, but I don't want to tell anyone, because then they're going to see me as this mentally ill person that they're going to try to lock me up, or they're going to I'm going to get kicked out of school, blah, blah, blah. And for me, mania was the wrong word. For me, it was just filled with all of this passion. and I don't mean like in the biblical sense, but
Yeah.
like,
No, I know what you mean. Yeah.
in the version that's not actually like the definition of passion
Sure.
that we all use. Like for me, it was just all this passion. It was like I had electricity flowing through me. It was just like I finally have what I've been looking for. This confidence and this feeling as if like I'm unstoppable. And when you use that word mania, especially like as it relates to mental illness, then people are going to see me as sick when I see everyone else as sick. They're the sick ones, and they don't get it. They're jealous, and they want to stop that.
Yeah.
Because they don't want to know that people like me exist that are just on a different level, on a higher plane, and they want to bottle that up because they don't understand it and they're afraid of it.
So in those thinking, like, did that eventually become a hindrance to your growth in your life and your learning? At what point are you seeing a doctor and being diagnosed? At what point were you?
Yeah. Well, I was already seeing a doctor for other stuff and taking medications that, looking back, I shouldn't have been on because they were just like the wrong diagnosis.
Yeah.
And like when I was going through the mania, I stopped seeing my doctor because like, why see a doctor? I'm cured.
Sure. Yeah.
So when I came back,
great.
when I came back and tried to explain this to my doctor, like she didn't believe me because she never saw that part of me. She only saw the depressed and anxious side.
Right.
So that took some time, and like it took a long time for basically get on the right like treatment regimen, and like still not perfect. It's never the one thing I had to learn. We're talking about many lessons in this podcast is that there's no magic pill that makes anyone's life problems go all the way away. Oh. And I've also learned that bipolar is not something I want to go away, that it's become a part of my identity. It's not all that I am. It doesn't control me. But it's ingrained in me, and I don't want that to go away. Even with the depression, like I cannot stress enough that depression in of itself is not a bad thing. It's on the same spectrum of all the other emotions, and it's necessary because otherwise, why would it exist? It is an emotion that everyone needs to feel at various parts of their life for appropriate reasons. So we all have times where we grieve. We all have times where we're in a hard place, or things are not going as we expected them to, and that can be depressing. Of course, there's depression that is much more severe than others, but even then, that's not the end of the world. Like I wouldn't want to be depressed every single day of my life, although sometimes I feel like that. But it's very important to not just erase those emotions, even with mania, even with like hearing voices, if that's something that brings meaning to your life. And when I've learned that, and also that there's no magic pill, even if there was, I wouldn't want to take it, because no one wants to hang around with someone who's always happy, who's always got it all figured out.
Sure. Yeah.
Like I used to want to go to heaven, and then I realized that like you don't want to be around like a bunch of people who are perfect, or like where there's no kind of adversity or conflict. It's where everything is just like hunky dory all the time.
That would be strange.
Yeah.
Yeah. I hear you. I think I love what you said about these emotions, bipolar disorder, depression, schizophrenia. I have a brother who's schizophrenic. These are, I like your perspective on these being, they're parts of life and they're valid, and we give names to them because they're parts of us, you know?
Yeah.
They're not all of us, but they're parts of us, and they're valid parts. And I think that I was talking to someone recently, and I want you to speak to this. I was talking to them, Aaron Smith, actually, Cultural Savage on Twitter and Instagram.
Oh, yeah.
Right.
Yeah. He's married to Sarah Fader, right?
Is he?
Or dating? Like,
yeah.
Sorry. Yeah.
They know each other, but yeah, he's a really nice guy. He's well, this would come after his episode of this, so go listen to his episode, Aaron Smith. But he was talking about how our culture honors the safe, the quote unquote safe mental illnesses like depression, anxiety. The ones that I think, and I agree with him, the ones that I think like are safe because, you know, the millions of people have it or whatever. And we haven't, as a culture or society, developed yet, I believe, a an approach, a safe conversation, understanding of bipolar disorder, of schizophrenia, these other ones that have the mania element, the psychosis element to that illness, that health condition. And I'm wondering how that has interacted with you in your life and how you've been maybe met with some of that fear or stigma.
I think about, as far as mania, like for me, mania is like the real me trying to escape, but it's also like you see like a horse when it's like first born, it's like can't even like stand up straight and it's just like all over the place,
stumbling around.
Yeah, like for me, like the mania is trying to escape. It's like it's rooted in who I really am, but since it's so foreign, not only to me but other people, it's just like no way to navigate it. There's no way to cultivate it into something that is actually not me just being an asshole.
Yeah, sure.
Like there is something there that is worth saving, and there's truth in that. But since like we're not in a society where we nurture that, instead we lock people up, we just tell them that they're sick and this and that. It's like, no, like we're reacting to a sick society, and the fact is that it does scare people, and when people are afraid, they want to control it. They want to contain it.
Yeah.
But I don't think these things, such as mania or hearing voices, saying things that others don't, are in of themselves bad things. It's the way that we react to them, whether the person experiencing these things or the way others react to that person. That is the problem.
Yeah, no, I agree. And in that are the, just over time, the cultural norms and the misconceptions about those things, that just feed into those fears and that stigma.
Yes, yeah. Fun times.
So how did, let's transition into some of the work you're doing now. Like what you speak publicly about your own mental illness. You speak publicly about your own mental health journey. Like what are the things that you are doing to maybe combat some of that stigma?
Okay. So this is like 2020, right? This comes out?
That's right.
So like I'm running for the Senate right now.
Okay. That's great.
Yeah. No, everything's going good.
We haven't done your full background check yet, but we'll get there.
Yeah. I just did like episode 900 of No Restraints, so Rudy Caseres. And so that's going well. Working on kid number 3.
Yeah. Nice. Whoa. How many alpacas do you have at this point in 2020?
I think I have one.
Okay.
Well, because like
about $42.
I had a farm of them in 2019, but then I sold them for profit.
Oh,
and
excellent.
So I was able to like buy my own island where I can just like play video games all day.
Amazing. I love it. So this will be out in 2019, I think. Early in a couple months. It'll be out in a couple months.
We'll at least have like jetpacks by then, right?
Probably. Yeah. In the future, we don't need roads. Yeah, where we're going, we don't need roads. Anyways,
well, that's technically the future.
That is technically the future. So tell me about some of the work you're doing. This is your life, and I think the listeners really want to hear about it because you're doing amazing things.
I mean, at this point, I'm just like being on other people's podcasts. I feel like I do like one of these like every other week. So that's me. I'm a professional podcast guest.
So you have No Restraints, which is your podcast, which I've been on. Fantastic. It's a live show every Friday at noon-ish or so.
Yeah, no, I'm actually on hiatus because I got married and I was on my honeymoon, and I'm just like taking a breather because I haven't taken a breather in so long. I know you're big on self-care.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, no, I hope to get back into the swing of things, and I usually have a guest on every Friday at 12 p.m. Pacific time, and so I'm looking forward to that. And you can actually go to my website. Not only can you go to rudycaseres.com to see all the episodes in reverse chronological order, but I just bought the domain for norestraints.net. So you can go on that, and it'll take you to the same website.
Nice.
But so it's like. I look back on that. I go through all the different episodes because they usually go live on my Facebook page. So it's like super hard to like navigate through Facebook to find what you want.
Totally.
So going on the website where you can see all of the episodes archived, it's just like a great, like, oh my God, like I've done all this. Like I've like gone week after week with no break, even when I'm traveling. And it's weird to look at that and like because I'm so used to just having nothing going on in my life, to say that I've talked to some of the leading mental health advocates in the world, it's quite staggering, like how far I've come in just the past few years. But no restraints with Rudy Caseres.
Yeah, you should feel proud. It's a great achievement. The thing that you're doing with that show and the other stuff is good. You're doing good, feely human work in the world.
Yes, and I also do a Facebook Live for The Mighty on their Facebook page. I actually go to their office in Burbank, California, where I'll interview people in person, which is something that I much prefer to do over the internet, because I can just talk to the person and like have someone else worry about all the technical stuff.
Sure, yeah.
And that I love doing. I do that usually the second Friday of the month at 12 p.m. Pacific.
Nice.
But it's weird. I'm actually doing one in like October 30th, which it'll already be out by then. And I'm doing one the third Friday of November. But once we get back into December, I swear, I promise. Even though, like, I don't know, when do you think this show will be out before we go any further?
I don't know. I'd have to look at my calendar. I can look it up right now.
Yes. As your audience patiently waits.
Yeah. Gosh, probably in January.
That's cool then. So January definitely. But yeah, no, I love doing that. I love The Mighty. That's actually how we got connected, because I was doing an Instagram live for The Mighty, and you were commenting. I'd never knew anything about you, and we connected through that, and now I'm eating chips and salsa in your studio. So
yeah. What about This Is My Brave? That's something you're associated with, right?
Yes, I just did a show. This Is My Brave is a national nonprofit where they do these storytelling events all over the country where people share their stories living with mental health conditions. And I was in the LA show last year. Like they do shows in like all over the country, like even in Australia. So they're based in Arlington, Virginia. And so that was a great experience. I've actually gotten work because people have seen that video on YouTube, and This Is My Brave YouTube channel, who wanted to book me to speak for them. And that's been a great thing. Gift that keeps on giving. But I had the opportunity to produce the LA show this year, which was on September 22nd, 2018. And that was definitely, very trying at times, but it was a great sense of accomplishment. I thought the event went really well, and I can't wait it should be on YouTube by the time this comes out. So
awesome.
That'll be exciting. You can put the link to the video in like the little doobly-doo description if you want.
The doobly-doo. Yeah, that's what I call it.
Do you really?
No. That's awesome. I hope to go to a This Is My Brave show at some point in my life. How do you seem to do pretty well with public speaking? Is that something you're scared of sometimes? Does it give you
I'm not scared of it. I'm more worried about not giving it my all, or not getting to my potential. Like I've done, it's usually like times where like I've been in front of big audiences where I felt like I choked. I guess because I felt the stakes were higher.
Sure.
So where I've done like speeches in front of like 20 people, like in a little classroom, and like I felt like I was on fire, like I kicked ass. Like you can like put out like a cigarette on me and I wouldn't flinch. And so that's the thing I'm worried about, that I'm going to have this big opportunity to speak in front of hundreds of people, and I'm just going to be like stumbling all over the place and just like completely lost. But thankfully people keep hiring me, so I got to be doing something right.
Totally, you are. I mean, you speak very eloquently.
Yeah, I'm always worried that because I get hired in different places. So like if they ever like talk to each other and it's like, hey, actually Rudy Caseres sucks as a speaker. So
no, don't. We have no room for that self-judgment here.
Yes. Cut that shit, Rudy.
Well, let's transition into your favorite empathy heroes.
Yes.
I'll go first.
Yes, you go first.
I'll go first. So, listeners, as you know, we always talk about empathy heroes toward the end of the show on Yumi Empathy. This episode, my empathy hero is just going to be something off the top of my head because I have to come up with one of these every episode. And my empathy hero this week is Joelle.
Are you serious?
I'm taking yours.
Oh my God.
So you have to come up with your own.
Oh.
I'm just kidding. I won't take Joel. My empathy hero this week is, I'm just going to say the entire Leonard family over there, our friends and neighbors who recently invited me. So I just last night, as we're recording, they invited me to this, their daughter, Charlie, climbs. She's like a climber and she's like incredible. She's 10 years old. And I climbed once in like a climbing gym maybe 20 years ago. And they invited me, and there was like they were gonna have like a keg and like a little Halloween maze thing. And my initial sort of anxious brain was, no, I don't want to go. Safe is home. I want to be home, and that's a safe space. And I talked to Jessica about it, and eventually I decided to go because I feel like I do tend to isolate, and I'm here all day. I'm just like not face to face with really anyone. I'm just like. And that's when I get into like sort of my darker moments. I just isolate too much. So I decided to go. It was fantastic. I had a fun time. It wasn't too nerve-wracking. I wasn't too awkward, And they were just gracious enough to invite me and be, just delightful hosts there, and sort of encouraging me as I was climbing and stuff. Just really sweet family. And so. Yeah, my empathy heroes this week are the Leonard family.
You already got so many friends around here. Look at you. Like, you've only lived here for a couple of weeks.
Well, they were here already, So we knew them before. So that's I don't, yeah.
My empathy hero is the entire Eastern Seaboard.
Ooh, I like it.
Yeah, topped you.
Okay, well, you won. You won. I guess it's a competition. You're making this a competition.
Yeah. But no, I would say Joelle, not just because she's in the room, but I mean, that's definitely one of the top 3 things I like about her is that she's very, she's sympathetic, but she can't, she's very good of like sticking up for people when she sees they're not being treated right.
It's a good trait.
And I mean, like, oftentimes for me, I'm like, fuck it, I don't care. And like, people suck. So like, but, even though like she agrees that people suck, like she still can't, sit there and take it when people are being mistreated.
Yeah, that's a valuable trait. And we need people like that in our lives for sure. Cause someone like me, I do put a lot of my heart into people, but I sometimes don't have the element that Joel has, which she's, maybe it's feistiness, maybe it's courage. I don't know what it is, but we need people like that for sure. Yeah. Well, thanks for sharing that.
Well, I appreciate it. I'm glad I was able to think on the fly.
Well, before we wrap up, Rudy,
Before we wrap
you up in a bag.
Before you smack it up.
Well, where can people connect with you, listen to your podcasts, etc.?
Yes, I'm at You Me Empathy on Instagram and Twitter.
Oh, I love that. We have the same handle. That's amazing.
Yes. Before that, I was at POTUS.
Oof. Dark time.
Yes, on a light note.
Yeah.
But I am at Rudy Caseres, RudyCaseres, on Instagram, on Twitter, and you can also find me on Facebook, and you can go to norestraints.net to see past episodes. And I think by the time this episode goes up, I'll be starting to do new ones again as well. And I do Facebook Lives for the Mighty every month, so I'll probably get known to the Burbank office someday. Even though it's quite a drive, I guess it's fun. Yeah. So I got that going on, and, you never know when I'm just going to pop up on your podcast of choice. So you probably get sick of me. I wonder if people are like that, where it's like, they're like changing the dial, like on the podcast, like, stations. And it's just like me and like every other one. It's like, how did this guy get on so many podcasts?
Well, you're wanted, man. People love you.
Yeah.
That's why.
Well, I still want to be on This American Life.
Ooh.
Like that's like one of my big goals.
Oh yeah. That'd be a dream.
So Ira Glass, I'm coming for that ass.
Okay. On that note, well, thank you, Rudy, for being here on You Me Empathy. I appreciate you, and thanks.
Yes, and if you ever see me on the street, you the listener, please leave me alone.
And to you listeners, as I always say, I'm here, you're here. We're here together on this wayward, overwhelming, awe-inspiring pale blue dot. We have each other. It's You Me Empathy.